Virtual events are a powerful alternative to in-person events. So today I'll give you virtual event ideas so that you can select the right virtual events for your company and make them more successful. Hey, I'm Ricky Wolf, founder of Markletic, and if you like videos about B2B marketing, consider subscribing to this channel and liking this video. I'll be posting a lot of videos about B2B marketing tips so you can generate more leads for your business and consequently drive more revenue. Before we dive into the virtual event ideas, I want to run something by you. I want to ask you a question. How many virtual events do you plan to host in the next 3 months? I'm just asking this to get an idea of how popular virtual events are at the moment. So if you're not going to host any virtual events, select A. If you're going to host between 1 and 5 virtual events, select B. Between 5 and 10, select C. And 10 or more, select D. Let me know your answers down in the comment section. So the trick to host a successful virtual event and to look back at the event and think, yes, this was a success, is to have a high level of audience engagement. If your audience is very engaged, they'll perceive the event as a better event, they'll talk about it more, and you'll also be probably generating more revenue from this event. So a couple of virtual event ideas that I have for you today will focus on how to generate more engagement from your audience. The first virtual event idea is virtual roundtables. In-person roundtables are very powerful, but virtual roundtables with the right setup can be just as powerful as in-person roundtables. Usually your target audience for these type of events is C-level people and maybe director level plus people. It really depends on the topic of your virtual roundtable discussion. It's kind of best practice to have between 8 and 10 prospects of you, maybe one customer, a partner, and one of your vice presidents that can actually moderate the virtual roundtable discussion. It's even better to get an external moderator. This person is probably more experienced in moderating roundtable discussions, can ask the right questions and keep the discussion alive. So this is something definitely worth investing in. Generally, virtual roundtable discussions are not very expensive to set up anyway. I've actually made a video about virtual event roundtables and how you can set them up successfully. So I'll leave a link down in the description. So if you're interested in a virtual roundtable discussion and everything, how you need to set it up, get the right audience, etc., look at this video that I'll link down below. The second virtual event idea is breakfast sessions or lunch sessions. This works very well, and usually you will have some sort of keynote presentation, right? So maybe you can invite an industry influencer to your virtual event, to your virtual breakfast, and perhaps you can also even send breakfast or lunch to your attendees. So if you have a select group of, let's say, 20 people in your virtual event, it's not very costly to send them all lunch or breakfast, and this will actually increase the engagement. They'll feel more connected, and this will make your breakfast or lunch session more powerful and impactful. The third virtual event idea is wine or whiskey tasting. This can be very impactful, and it's really a virtual event idea that promotes networking. So you can send all of your attendees a box of wine or maybe a box of whiskey and hire an expert who can talk about the subject, right? Who can provide background information about the wine or the whiskey, where it's coming from, where it was produced. And this really makes the event a whole lot more interactive. So this can be great in B2B areas, for example, when you bring press together, or you can bring a whole bunch of journalists together to really, get them acquainted with your business. And it's a nice setup, a very informal setup to increase the awareness of your company to journalists. And this is very impactful, of course. The fourth virtual event idea is virtual classrooms. So B2B companies are very often complex, right? The solution or software that they provide is very complex usually. So generally your prospects want to try out your product. So you can actually host a virtual classroom or a virtual demo, so people can get hands-on experience with your platform or with your solution, and that will make the sales cycle a little bit easier. So usually you would do this in person, but maybe with some circumstances it's not possible, or maybe the distance is too far for them to travel to your office, for example. So virtual classrooms are a great alternative to that and still provides a lot of interactivity. With the right setup, you can actually make this very engaging, right? You need to have a couple of trainers, and I would limit the classroom to about 10 people. If you have too many people there, you can't really provide a personal experience, and this is not beneficial. So the fifth idea is virtual conferences. So with the situation such as the coronavirus, you might have to cancel your in-person conference. So a virtual conference is a great alternative, and it still provides a lot of the same capabilities that you would have with an in-person conference. Of course, an in-person conference is a whole different experience, but a virtual conference can really be a great alternative. With the right virtual conferencing platforms, you can actually have sponsorships as well, so other companies can sponsor your event, and of course you'll get more revenue from that, but it also provides your sponsors with the capabilities that they actually need to generate leads at your event. So for example, a sponsor might have a little virtual booth at your conference, so attendees can actually go to that webpage on your virtual conferencing platform and chat with the sponsors. So of course this is very impactful for both the sponsors and the attendees, and also for your company, of course. Virtual conferences are very complex though, so just like an in-person conference, virtual conferences take a lot of time to set up, so don't underestimate this. But with the right platform, and I'll leave a couple of platforms down in the description so you can have a look at that, but with the right virtual conference platform, you can really generate a lot of value for your business still. The sixth virtual event idea is virtual team building. So of course your team is very important and you should take very good care of them. So in situations where you're quarantined or you might have to work from home due to situations such as the coronavirus, it's very important to take care of your team. So great ideas are like virtual well-being events. So maybe you can hire a fitness instructor that can provide a training session to your team, for example, or like wine tasting for your team. But it's very important to also focus on your employees. So of course, virtual events are great for lead generation, great for driving more revenue for the business, but you also have to take care of your employees. So the seventh idea that I have for you is real-time illustrators, right? Sketch artists, so to say. These people are great. For example, if you have a virtual roundtable discussion, you can actually hire a sketch artist that will make notes, but in a sketch way. So this is very engaging, it's something different. And of course, when you share this post-event, your attendees might actually share this on social media. So if you do something like this, there's a high probability that you'll actually generate a lot of social awareness from your virtual event. So this is very nice. The eighth idea is to send your virtual event attendees something special. So I've already discussed virtual roundtable, so just let's continue that. But if you host a virtual roundtable discussion, it's very nice to actually send the attendees something that they have to use in the virtual event, right? So maybe for a virtual roundtable discussion, you can send them something with some topic points that you're going to discuss during the roundtable discussion, so they can prepare and they might have to read it out loud, for example. It's very nice to be able to send something physically to someone because it's very nice to send something physically to someone because it makes them feel more connected to your virtual event. And of course, this will drive a higher level of audience engagement and therefore more satisfaction. The ninth idea is creating competitions. So of course, a lot of people, especially in business, they're very competitive, right? They want to win. And I think everyone likes a good competition. So try to come up with competitive elements, and maybe you can put two teams against each other. Maybe you can have breakout rooms in your virtual event. They have to come up with an idea, and then in the main session, right, you're going to discuss who won. So of course this is very nice, and then if you have a prize for the winning team, that's also very nice. So for example, when you're hosting a very large virtual conference and you have a lot of companies sponsoring your event, it could be nice to have some sort of competition between all the exhibitors that have to do something, maybe talk to the most people virtually through the chat, and that sponsor might win something extra, right? So things like this are very nice to increase also the sponsorship engagement, but also the engagement of your audience. The 10th idea is virtual entertainment. So for example, with a trade show, with a virtual trade show, there might be some waiting period. So if you have some extra entertainments that cover the time that people are waiting, this will prevent people from leaving your virtual conference. Because if people are attending your virtual conference and they're doing it from home, there might be a lot of distractions, right? They might have kids, there might be pets, or they might get soaked into their emails, right? So the 10th idea is really to create an extra level of engagement by providing entertainment while people are waiting. So think of things such as a magician, for example. You can have a magician, you can actually record that magician real time, right, and stream it. And then that magician might be doing some interesting tricks while people are waiting, right? So this is very nice and prevents people from leaving your virtual event and getting distracted. So those are 10 virtual event ideas to make your events more successful. Let me know what virtual events ideas that you have implemented and maybe ideas that you have yourself, and let me know down in the comments so we can all learn from each other. So I think that would be very nice. And that wraps up this video. I hope you liked it, and if you did, consider subscribing to this channel and liking this video, and I'll see you next time.